All right, so you've started the business or the side hustle or hobby or freelancing. You've got the name, maybe even an Instagram handle, maybe your first client, paying or not, but no real website yet. And that's the next big step to looking professional and really solidifying your business as a business. So in this episode, I'm giving you the clarity, confidence, and understanding on how to get a website up without tech overwhelm, without tons of money, or without tons of time. And we'll even do a quick fire glossary of website related terms that you're going to hear in your website journey so you can really get what's going on. I'm going to share the things you don't need when building your first website, but you might think you need. I'm also going to share the things you actually do need. And then again, the step-by-step of building your first website. So I'm so excited to help you in this exciting point in your business journey. Let's dive in. Hey guys, I'm Elizabeth McCravey, educator for business owners, website designer, and your host of the Breakthrough Brand podcast. I'm a Christian, wife to my high school sweetheart, and mom to 3 sweet little kids. So yes, I record a lot of these episodes during nap time. On this podcast, I pull back the curtain on what it actually takes to build a successful, sustainable business, not the hustle till you drop version you hear about online. I've been a business owner since 2016, and I'm here to tell you this. You can build a business you love without burning out, sacrificing time with your family, or working 40 hours a week. Here you'll find episodes that are actionable, direct, and fun, like friends chatting business over coffee, with an honest look at the realities of motherhood, entrepreneurship, and navigating both with faith and purpose. You'll hear episodes on marketing, website design, podcast strategy, time management, and scalable income, while also talking about mom life, faith, and personal growth. If you want your business to feel purposeful, profitable, and aligned with your life, not the other way around, you're in the right place. It's time to build your breakthrough brand. Let's do this. Okay, so I truly love helping first-time new business owners with launching their first website because y'all, it is a milestone. The day you launch your website as a small business owner is often the day you think of as the official start date of your business. It's like that ribbon cutting moment. And I know if you're a brick and mortar, then often the start date is like that grand opening when customers come into the building, right? But when you're online only, when you're a service business, it's often your website going live and you telling people about it. That is that official start. And for me, I actually count my website launch day as the start date, day one of my business. And I actually, for me, had been freelancing about 6 to 9 months before this date. But then the day I made it official for me is the day I think of as my business start date. And that was March 29th of 2016, which is close to 10 years ago now for me, which is crazy. But I still remember that feeling of building the first website and remember nervously posting to my Facebook profile and my personal Instagram account that I now had a business with a name and I was open for new clients. I still have that screenshot saved of what I posted. I'm going to find it and actually include it in the blog for this episode, which you can find at elizabethmccravey.com/329. Also, if you want to read, reread parts of this episode after you listen, that's a great place to go, elizabethmccravey.com/329. But anyway, it's a milestone. So cherish it. And for me back then, I remember my website was not perfect. My current website still is not perfect. There's errors that happen on it, even as a designer. But my first website was what my business needed at the time, and it helped me immediately book clients, helped me get things rolling. And for me, as someone who was just 22 at the time, it helped me in my feeling really nervous about the whole business thing, be able to confidently call myself a business owner. So before we get into it, I'm going to share, what you actually need and don't need to build a website. But I want to give you, if you're new here, just like a 30-second summary of who I am. If you're like, wait, I've just stumbled on this episode, I'm new to this podcast. Maybe you skipped the intro music when that played. But if you're new here, I'm Elizabeth McCravey. And like I just said, I started my business officially almost 10 years ago after quitting my first quote unquote real job that I got post-college. So I worked at an advertising agency as a designer, only stayed about 4 months. And then I quit that job with no plan. And I started freelancing when I was at that job, but then really upped my freelancing when I quit and ultimately ended up turning that freelancing into a legitimate business. So I started by doing random design work, website, social media management, copywriting, like whatever people needed, I would do. I was Jane of all trades. And I wasn't sure what I liked most. I just knew like the things I could do and what I enjoyed. And I eventually narrowed things down to just website design and branding. And also within that, narrowed it down to using Showit as my website builder, which we'll get into if you've never heard of Showit. And now 10-ish years later, I'm one of the top Showit designers. I sell website templates that have helped thousands of businesses with their websites. And I'm also a mom to 3. My youngest is just 5 months old. My oldest is 4 years old. And I work part-time from home on this business and this podcast, often during nap time. Literally right now, my little girl is napping. And I love what I do. I love website design. I love keeping things simple and taking away the extreme confusion there often is around this sort of process. And I really just love being able to see people make their business legitimate through a website and take the dream, make it a reality, make money online, make money from home. And I'm all about working faster and smarter so you can get back to doing other things like being with your family or working on other aspects of your business. So anyway, that was the real quick summary about me. You can learn more about me and my story in other episodes too, where I share more personal stuff. But let's get into all this website stuff and keep continuing this conversation. So I'm going to start with the 5 things you don't need to build your website, and then the 5 things you do need. And then we're going to talk through website glossary terms, and then also how to build your first website step by step. So there's a little information about where we're headed on this episode. So, okay, first, the 5 things you don't need for your first website, but that you might think you do, which is why I have to mention them. So the first thing, you do not need to have your business or side hustle at a certain amount of time or have earned a certain amount of money to have or need a website. So this is you just selling yourself short when you get into this mindset, but we often make up milestones to hit to make our business quote unquote more legit before we do something else in our business. So I would say with this, you typically know in your gut when it's time for you to get a website. And for a lot of people, that's day one. For a lot of people, it's more like my experience where I was freelancing legitimately for somewhere between like 6 to 10 months before I said like, hey, I'm going to make this a real thing with a website. A lot of people, it is though, like they are not going to launch their business until they have the website set up. Or maybe, you're someone who you've had 2 clients you found through a friend or on social media, and now you're feeling that lack that you don't have a place to send people to see your services. You're like, wait, like I booked someone on Instagram, but now I'm like, this other person wants to see more than just like an Instagram post that laid everything out. They want to see a website. So you don't have what you need. You don't have a home base. Since that's you, I would say you need a website. But the thing I don't want you to fall into the trap of is thinking that there's like some test you have to pass to prove your business or your freelancing is quote unquote ready for a website. And I think that ready point is going to vary a lot just depending on you and your business and what you're doing. Okay, second thing you don't need. You do not need custom coding or hiring a developer to have your first website or website ever. So custom coded websites are very 15 years ago. That's my flag I'm staking on this. I'll leave it at that. But technology with websites has advanced to where you just simply don't need this. You don't need a custom coded website. You likely do not need a developer like you listening to this podcast, likely starting a service business or an online course business, something of that sort. You don't need a custom coded website. And I'm not even talking about because of AI advances. I'm talking about advances before AI were a thing. Like it's just have nothing to do with that. You just don't need this now. So I'm not saying though that your website isn't built using some code or that code isn't like the back end of your website, but you don't need to code yourself or have someone else code for you and write code to have your website up. Instead, you can use what's called a website builder, which often feels like using something like Canva, if you're familiar with using Canva, to drag and drop to build your website yourself. So just take the like coding aspect or developer aspect off the table. Again, yes, some people need a developer. Like if you're starting an app company and building a software, like yes, you're going to hire a developer. But if you're starting a copywriting business, bookkeeping, a design company, maybe you're a midwife or doula, you're a counselor, like you don't need a custom coded website. Okay, third thing you don't need. You do not need $8,000+ for a custom design website when you're just starting. So yes, you can do this of hiring a designer to custom build from scratch for you start to finish a website, but you don't have to. So if you want to have a designer custom build your first website and you have the funds for it, I do say like, sure, you can go that route. And maybe like as you listen to this episode, that might lead you to even realize like, hey, I am someone who like just a completely custom website as my first website makes sense for my specific business. But for most businesses, that's not what I recommend. It's better to invest less money in your first website and have a site that you can edit and adapt and change yourself, because in the first 3 years of your business is likely going to change a lot. And often what happens is you spend like $10,000 on that custom website, and then 3 years, 2 years, 1 year even, it's going to feel like a waste because you're having to redo it a few years anyway, because you're changing your business name. You're completely changing the aesthetic. You completely change your service, your messaging, like all of it just changes a lot. Those first 3 years, similar to like the first 3 years of a child's life when they're going from just like laying there to sitting up and then crawling, then walking. Like your business is very similar in that way. Like so many changes often happen in those first 3 years. So I think it's better to start with a template, which we're going to continue to talk about. But when I was a designer earlier in my business journey, again, I've been doing this like 10 years, but early on, I did not sell website templates, and I worked one-on-one with clients. And this issue I saw was actually what became my motivation for creating my template shop and ultimately selling Showit templates. So I had amazing women coming to me who were starting their business, coming to me for their first website. And by the time my prices got higher, at least like $8,000, $10,000 plus for a custom website, I would feel like, oh, this, like she really wants to work with me. I really want to work with her, but I don't think she needs to spend $10,000, $8,000 right off the bat on her first website, because you don't want to go into debt starting a service business. Service businesses, actually, a really amazing thing about them is that they can be really low cost to get off the ground, and also a really low cost monthly expense, like just low cost, yielding like high profit margins, all of that. But I had people that were ready to spend a lot with me and sometimes even go into like debt to get their first website. And I would feel like my own personal opinion as someone who also teaches business was like, this isn't the best business move. So I created my templates with these business owners in mind of like, you're new, you want to go from the freelancer side hustle to a more legitimate business, and you also want to spend less than $1,000 on it. And that's when my templates come into play. So that's kind of just my 2 cents on this, that like, you don't need the super custom website when you start. Most people don't, but it is nice to be able to spend less than $1,000 on the website and have that custom feeling look through a template. And then maybe you always continue to use templates. A lot of people do. Or maybe when you're 5 years in, you do hire a designer to revamp everything and get a completely custom website. Okay, 4th thing you don't need. I have 2 more things that you don't need. 4th thing, you don't need to have every photo or piece of website copy written before you start. So this is something that will often hang people up too. You'll be like, I need to get a photo shoot done. I need to know exactly what I'm going to say on the website before I get started. But you actually can buy a website template and then get photos and copy figured out. And what I have seen through my own customers is that the template can actually inform those decisions versus the other way around. And it's probably easier to pick your template first if you don't have a super clear vision yet for your style of brand photos, and then get brand photos done after you've bought the template. Finish writing your copy or write it all completely once you have the template, again, to like inform the copywriting, because you're seeing like, okay, this is like the sections the about page I bought has within them. Now, how do I write copy for that, right? I've given birth to 3 children in the U.S. without ever having traditional health insurance. And no, we didn't just pay those huge medical bills out of pocket each time. We found an affordable healthcare solution we truly love, Christian Healthcare Ministries. CHM is a faith-based alternative to health insurance at half the cost. You can enroll at any time and join a proven faith-based solution that's both reliable and affordable. My family has been members for over 5 years now, and CHM shared all expenses for all 3 of my children's births, from C-section to home birth. They even shared things like pelvic floor therapy and lactation consulting, which were both such huge blessings for birth prep and postpartum. And outside of birth, we've had our hard moments of emergency room visits and surgeries, and those costs were all shared by members at Christian Healthcare Ministries, leaving us only paying our monthly contribution. I seriously just can't recommend CHM enough. It's not just financial support, it's spiritual support when you need it most. Learn more at elizabethmccravy.com/CHM. That link is in the show notes too. And if you want the full story, Adam and I did a whole episode on our experience, so check out episode 305 of this podcast. Again, that's elizabethmccravy.com/CHM. Now back to today's show. versus the other way around. So anyway, I actually think it's just a better decision to pick the template first, then do photos and copy after. Going to be faster and probably more effective for you. Okay, fifth thing you don't need, last thing, you don't need a giant business plan with all of your goals and hopes for the next 5-10 years of your working life before you have your website. Now, maybe you don't consciously think this is a need, but often people do feel like their business just isn't quote unquote there enough to have a website. So I'm telling you, you do not need a 5-year business plan. You don't need to know that you're in this for the long haul. You just need to know what you're selling right now and have a little bit of money ready to set aside to create your website. That's all you really need. You need to know what you're selling now, a little bit of funds ready, a little bit of time ready, and then get the website up and then make that money back once you're booking clients or customers from said new website. Okay, so those are the 5 things you don't need. Let me just reread those real quick, and then I'm going to go on to the things you do need. Okay, so you don't need to have your business or side hustle at a certain amount of time or earned a certain amount of money to have a website. Don't need custom coding or hiring a developer. Don't need to spend tons of money on a custom website. And you don't need to have every photo or piece of copy written before you start. And you don't need a business plan with all your goals and hopes before you get started. Okay, now what do you actually need? Okay, those things you don't need. Here are 5 things you do definitely need before creating your website and that are factors in that website creation process. So first thing, a business name and an offering. So you need a name for the business, which can actually be your own name like mine is, or it could be like your name copywriting or your name coaching. So for example, like Elizabeth McCravy copywriting, that sort of thing. For a long time, my business was Elizabeth McCravy Designs. And I shortened it to just saying my own name. Or it can be a fictitious name, which is also how I actually started my business. I had a fictitious name. Then a few years later, I rebranded to another fictitious name. Then a few years later, I rebranded to Elizabeth McCravy. But yeah, you just need a name. Again, it can be your own name or it can be something else. And you need an offer, meaning something to sell. So the thing you're selling could be a service like photography, or it could be a product like an online course. It can be something online that you're doing with people like online coaching, or it could be something in person you're doing with people like being a birth doula or a therapist, as an example. But without these 2 things, you probably don't have stuff to even put on your website yet, right? So like those are things you want to figure out is like, what am I selling? What am I naming and calling this thing? And then I would say once you have those things figured out, you're probably ready to start that journey of like picking out a template. Okay, so the next thing you need for your website though, is you need a domain name, which is your website address. So this is like your brick and mortar address. So if you were a store location and people are putting the address into their Maps app, that's like this, but for the internet, right? So it's where people go on the internet to find you. For example, my domain name is elizabethmccravy.com. And in my 10 years as a business owner, I've actually changed my business name 3 times, like I said. So I had 2 other domains before that. So I say that to say, pick something for now. You can actually change your domain later if you need to. It's a little bit of a headache, yes, but like it's doable. It doesn't have to be the thing you keep forever. But you can buy your domain name somewhere like GoDaddy or Google Domains. I will link to both of those in the blog for this episode. And domain names are typically a lot cheaper than whatever you're going to pay for your website template and for your website platform, which we're going to talk about next. But unless it's like a domain name that's super, super short and like desirable and all those sorts of things, maybe then it'll be really expensive. Otherwise, though, we're talking like $30 a year for the domain name. So she's something like your own name, like my elizabethmccravy.com name, because that is something that only I want because it is my name. It's not like a really expensive domain. So anyway, you need a domain name though, your website address, and you want it to be short and memorable, easy to spell and say, all those sorts of things. And when you see it all running together, to not make other words out of it that don't really make sense. I actually have a business naming guide on my website that I will also link to in the blog for this episode that talks a little bit about the domain name and naming your business, because obviously those 2 things relate. So I will link to that in the show notes so you can get that to help you with that step. Okay, third thing you need for your website, a website platform. Okay. This is also sometimes called a quote unquote website builder. Those terms are interchangeable. So website builder, website platform. The website platform I use and that my templates work with is called Showit. And Showit is a great beginner friendly option, but also one that's robust enough that big businesses earning millions and millions a year still use it. It has a very wide range of users from someone just starting out to a really established company. And it's something you can update yourself, creative freedom. So that's one of the many reasons I'm a huge Showit fan. I know the people who work there and who build this product. They care so much about excellence. They care about customer support. They care about community, and it's truly just the best of the best. I'm recording this episode for you on a Friday, and I was on a call with the Showit team and some other Showit designers on Monday this week. Like, they are just amazing. So if you want to learn more about Showit though, and also get 1 month free, no credit card required trial just to explore it, see what that interface I'm talking about is like that's so user friendly, you can go to elizabethmccraby.com/showit to get more info and get that free 1 month trial. But that's something else you need, right? You need a website platform. So to recap where we're at so far, you need a business name and an offering. You need a domain name, which is going to be the URL for your website. And then you need a website platform. Number 4, you need a template or a custom design. So you either need a template to be the base of your website that you're going to customize yourself, or you need a designer to custom build you something from scratch. So I already said why I don't think custom is best for brand new businesses in most cases. Again, there are obviously exceptions to every rule. But if you're not a designer yourself, you'll need one or the other. So you're either going to need to hire a designer, or you're going to need to buy a template. What you don't want if you're not a designer is to start with a blank screen and build everything yourself from scratch. It's going to take forever. You need a starting point through that template or through a designer to custom design it for you. Okay, and the 5th thing you need is website hosting, okay? So if you're going the Showit route, Showit includes this. Some platforms don't, but Showit is your website builder and your website host together. But basically, website hosting is the tool or company that puts your website out into the internet. So we use hosts for websites. We also use a host for things like a podcast. If you're a podcaster, it's the platform that like gets your show out there to, Spotify, Apple, all the things. So for example, my podcast host is Buzzsprout. Buzzsprout is what put this on Spotify or Apple for you to listen to. Your email host might be Gmail. Sometimes the host and the builder are the same. And in the case of Showit, the host and the builder are the same. In the case of like WordPress, for example, the host and the builder are not the same. So anyway, those are the 5 things you do need though. So let me recap those. You need a business name and an offering. You need a domain name, your website address. You need a website platform, also called a website builder. You need a template or a designer that you have hired. And then you need website hosting, which again, Showit includes. Okay, now let's do this rapid fire glossary, the words you will hear when setting up your site that I mentioned in the beginning. So I'll make this quick, but I hope this helps you. And again, this is something like even as a designer, I wish I had when starting out, just like someone to define some of these terms that you're going to be like, wait, what are you talking about? Perhaps if you haven't gotten used to hearing them. So first one is a website template, and it's sometimes called a website theme. So I want you to know that those terms are interchangeable. Website theme, website template. Theme is more commonly used in the WordPress world, which is one of the other website builders. And then a template is more commonly the word used when it's a Wix, Squarespace, or Showit website. So you want to think of the website template, though, again, or theme, as the bones of your website. So it's designed and ready, and you just add in your words and images. It's a base for you to build upon, and you can change it as much as you want to or as little as you want to. So again, that is a website template or a website theme. Okay, next one, domain or domain name. So like I said, that's your website street address. So that's like elizabethmccraby.com. This is something you buy on Google Domains or GoDaddy or a few other places, but those are like the 2 main ones. And that's your website address. It's where the website you design is being pointed to. Okay, next term is hosting. So a website host, this is like a literal technical definition I got from Google, but a website host stores a website's content like text and images, and it's on powerful computers called web servers, and it maintains them, ensuring the site is secure and available to visitors. So that's what Showit does for its user. And again, Showit's one that's a website platform that also includes hosting, which is really nice. Just all wrapped up into one. But if you hear the term hosting, that's what it means. It's the powerful computers making your website go out there and providing, maintaining it, all that kind of stuff. Next term, website platform. Okay. Also called a website builder, similar to theme versus template. Platform and builder are also really interchangeable there. And this is the tool you use to build your website with. So like Showit, Squarespace, WordPress, Wix, Shopify, Kajabi, those are all things that have website builders within them. And Kajabi is actually a good example of this because Kajabi has a website builder, but it's also like an online course hosting thing. It also does email marketing. So some of these platforms do more than one thing. And there's others that are more just focused on your website itself, like Showit. So anyway, that is a website platform. Next term, and these last ones are ones I haven't talked about as much already in this episode, but SEO. That stands for search engine optimization. And that's basically how Google and ChatGPT and other AI search engines find your website. And to get more specific, SEO isn't something you buy, it's something you do. So it's something you do, like see, you hear the word optimize. It's optimizing your website for search, optimizing your website to be found for the thing people are looking for that relates to what you do. And my last two terms, first, full site template. So that means this is a Showit term, full site template. So that means it's a template for your whole main site, your homepage, about page, contact services, a blog, all of that. It's all the pages you need. You can, of course, add pages. You can also delete pages that you're like, wait, this template comes with a resource page or a blog, and I'm not going to use those. You delete them. But a full site template means is intended to be your entire main site. Alternatively, our final term, add-on template. This means it's pages or canvases to add to an existing website. So it's not going to be your whole site, but it's pages that you would add to the template or custom design once you already have that created. So some examples of that, these are add-on templates I actually sell, but a speaker template. So if you're trying to get more speaker deals, you want a media kit on your website, you buy this template, you customize it and put it on your main website. A timelines template, this is like canvases, which means like sections on a page of a website that you add on to your Showit template that allows you to like share your story or your service process in a unique way through like a really cool design. Another one would be a podcast page. So a page on your website that's dedicated to information about your podcast. Maybe you don't have a design for that within your main full website template. So then you buy an add-on to add that on. So add-on templates aren't necessary. They're an extra thing that you can do. Not something you necessarily start with, but what you would want to start with is that full site template. So there you go. There are your glossary terms. There's probably some that I should be including that I'm forgetting, but that's a good starting point to really get you in the headspace of like knowing these terms. And if I forgot one that you're like, oh wait, you should have added this one in, maybe I'll do an episode at some point that's just website glossary terms. So send me a message at Elizabeth McCravey on Instagram and let me know what I perhaps forgot. Okay, now for the step-by-step how to build your first website, let's go through it. I have 5 steps, okay, that just outline like, okay, here is like actually what you do step by step. And there are other ways to go about this too. These are steps I recommend. And I also would say if you're using a different website platform besides Showit, these steps might look different. So I'm sharing how to build your first website on Showit step by step. So first thing is choosing your platform, which again, hey, I recommend Showit for that first platform, but you have to pick this to start. So I would just say, don't get into decision overwhelm. Just pick something. And I've actually changed my website platform 3 times. So my first website ever, that was when I was freelancing back in college, that was on Squarespace. And then after that, I built websites on WordPress. And then now I've been on Showit for many, many years. So just know that you can change. And I will say with this though, because this is something I get questions about sometimes because it's a confusing subject, but changing platforms does mean redoing the design because the design itself can't be moved between platforms. So for example, you can't design your whole website on Showit and then like quote unquote upload to Squarespace. You could try to recreate it on Squarespace by looking at what you did on Showit and trying to like copy basically what you did within the Squarespace design interface, but you can't just copy and paste it. But you do want to, again, just starting by picking a platform. And again, my pick and recommendation for small business owners selling services or things like courses or templates would be Showit. And you can learn more about Showit on my website, elizabethmccravey.com/Showit. And you can get that month free. I mentioned with no credit card required. Just use the code Elizabeth when you go to sign up for Showit, and then it'll give you that free month. And again, you can check out my templates too at elizabethmccravey.com/shop. But Showit is my pick. That's what I recommend. And I'm happy to like answer questions to maybe help you figure out even more. questions you have about Showit, you can email me hello@elizabethmccravy.com. But the first step in this whole process is just picking that platform. And then now after this, most of these kind of relate a bit to Showit. So second step would be picking a template that fits your brand. So a website template saves time, it saves stress, it saves money. Honestly, if you're DIYing it, you don't want to do this without a template. Like I said earlier, you don't want to, as a non-designer, be staring at a blank screen being like, cool, let me drag this button in, let me make this fun, let me put a photo here. It's like, it's going to take you literally forever. As a designer, that's what we do for fun. That's what I do when I make these templates, right? I'm doing that. I'm starting with a blank screen and designing something for you, but that's not what you want to do when you're not a designer. But a website template puts you in the driver's seat for updates to your website, which is something I just love about that template process. So, say you need to change your pricing, you can do that yourself. You want to add in a new service, you can duplicate a page and make an info page now about that new service. Say you do brand photos after, you launch your website with just some photos you had your friend take of you, and now you got an official brand photo shoot done. You can go into your template and change out your own images. Like Showit allows this, and also the flexibility of a template allows this. It really puts you in control. But again, to start, you pick your platform and then you pick your template. And for your main website, you'll want what is called a full site template versus an add-on, like I defined in that little glossary section of the episode earlier, but you'll want that full site template. And again, if you're enjoying this episode, I highly recommend you check out my templates, elizabethmccravy.com/shop. I have so many to pick from. I want to say like 20 maybe, but I have some that are designed more specifically for different industries, but you can obviously use one from whatever industry it looks like and customize it for your own business. So I would recommend picking it based on you feeling like the design itself and the layout, the vibe of it resonates with you. But I have templates designed for photographers and videographers, for wedding professionals, for coaches, for therapists. Literally, I have a lactation consultant template and a birth doula or midwife template, templates for copywriters and bookkeepers, actually podcasters, course creators and YouTubers. Like there's so many different kind of styles. And if you're feeling like you want something that's more sophisticated, perhaps more modern, perhaps more fun and colorful, like there's something literally for you in the shop. So that's all at elizabethmccravy.com/shop. And I also have a website personality quiz that matches you with a group of templates based on like what your brand personality is. So if you're looking at them, you're like, wait, I don't know which one's right for my ideal client. I don't know which one's right for my business. Go to elizabethmccravy.com/quiz, take that quiz. It'll match you with some template options that are right for you. And you also get a discount, and some free Canva templates for your social media, when you take that quiz. Okay. Third step though is to customize your site. So you picked your platform, you have your template, now you customize your template. So you customize it by adding your brand colors, your fonts, your copy, your website copy, and the photos. So those are elements to customize your template. And sometimes you're keeping the template's fonts and colors. That's definitely the easiest and fastest way to do it. Other times you may change all the fonts and all the colors. I would say what I see most people do is it's a little bit of both. So like you're keeping some colors and some fonts, and then some of it customizing to be unique to you. Or perhaps it's like you're keeping all the colors and most of the fonts, but there's just one font you're changing out. Or maybe it's that you're changing all the colors and keeping all the fonts. Like there's a lot of variety there, but you customize it. And you're customizing it by doing those changes and then adding in your own content, because the template you purchase has filler content in it. So it's meant for you to change out the words and also to change out the photos. So like this photo of this random girl in there, like you want to change that to be a photo of you or of your products, your work, your business, that sort of thing. So yeah, you go in and you customize all this. And my templates come with a course called the Showit Blueprint course that teaches you the ins and outs of Showit. You don't have to watch the whole course to be able to customize your template, but it's one of those things where like there's a starting module where I would recommend watching those first few videos to learn the Showit interface. And then after that, you can watch what you need in order to get your site customized. And also, in addition to my course, Showit has a lot of resources as well, teaching you how to use the platform. Okay, step 4, once it's all customized, which it does not have to be perfect to move on to this step, but you connect your domain name and you go live. So Showit has resources on this, so I won't get into like explaining how all of it works, but basically you need to tell your domain name, wherever that was purchased, that, hey, like this design I made over here in Showit is what I want to show up at on this domain name. So when someone types in this domain name, this is the design, this is the content I want to come up. That's basically what connecting your domain means. So by doing this, your website becomes live on the internet. It is launched. It's so fun, so exciting. Now you can share a link with it to people. It can show up on Google search. You can share it on your Instagram, on your stories as a link. Like it's a real link out there on the internet. And so you have it connected. So that's really like what I would say is the final step. But the fifth step, that's the final step, is that you start sharing it. So you can add it to your social media bio, put in your email signature, do that launch post where you're like, hey, I'm officially in business. Here's my website. Come check it out. You can promote it as a way to get clients and customers now. It is yours to share. And I want to say too, with this step, you can continue tweaking and updating it. So maybe you get your website to like a good baseline where you're like, hey, it's good enough to go live. Sure, I might want to start blogging later. Sure, I might want a resource page later. Sure, I might want some email marketing opt-ins later, but this is good enough for now. So I'm going to start with this, launch with what you have, publish it, and you can continue tweaking it as you'd like to. So for example, if like once it's live, you see something that's misaligned on it, or you decide you have a typo or you want to change a photo, whatever it is, just so you know, with Showit, it's as simple as going into your Showit account, going into that Showit website builder and fixing the issue. And then you just click in the corner to publish your site again. And then now the update you just made is live. So that's how simple it is to make changes. So when I say in step 4 that you're connecting your domain name and bringing it live, it's not like now that version is like what it is forever and you can't change. It's like, no, you can like change as many times as you want. You can change as many times a day as you want. You can update whenever. You are in complete control of it, and the changes take place immediately when you publish it. So you can get that good baseline, and then you can add pages over time. You can purchase Showit add-on templates, which can, again, come from any shop. It doesn't have to be the same shop or designer that you got your main website from. Something else just worth noting there. That's a question I often hear. But yeah, you start sharing it. You start making money from your website. So that's the steps. Those are the 5 steps. Let me read through those again as I've done in all these different little sections of this episode. But how to build your first website. First is choosing your platform. Next is picking a template within that platform that fits your brand. Third is customizing your website. Fourth, connect your domain name and go live. And then 5, start sharing it. Officially launch your website out into the world. So if this episode has you ready to finally get your business online and get yourself a website, I've said it a few times, but go check out my Showit website templates. They are really gorgeous and fun and unique. They're strategic. They're super SEO optimized. I know I mentioned SEO in that little glossary area, but I didn't really mention outside of that. But SEO is a big focus for me in my template design, and even thinking now with design about like how do you get to show up on AI search as well. Like that's something I'm thinking about. And the templates provide everything you need to get your site live and booking you clients. And my team and I also offer excellent customer support over email to answer your questions. So if you run into any roadblocks or need troubleshooting stuff while you're working on your template, you email us, we'll get back to you. We even often make custom videos to show you something if needed. If you're having trouble figuring something out and you just need that visual, we'll make you a video showing you how to do stuff. So anyway, head to ElizabethMcCravy.com to shop. And again, you can take that quiz at ElizabethMcCravy.com/quiz to get matched up with the template that's right for you. And if you want to, if you're like, this was a great episode, I want to like re-look at some of the steps, re-look at that glossary or anything like that. I may even add some extra terms to the glossary on the blog post, because I feel like I'm already thinking of some things I wish I would have included. But you can find all that at ElizabethMcCravy.com/329. And on this podcast feed, scroll back through other episodes. There's so many here that'll be helpful to you in building your first website. So just, there's over 300 podcast episodes I've done now. So just scroll through, find and download others that feel helpful to you on your website journey. And you can also go to ElizabethMcCravy.com/blog and read tons, over 500 blog posts at this point that are helpful things to help you with your website and your business in other ways as well. So again, I'm hello@ElizabethMcCravy.com if you'd like to email us and ask any questions. But yeah, I hope to see you launching, officially making your business official with a website in the near future. And I hope this episode was so helpful. I'd love to hear from you. I'm at Elizabeth McCravy on Instagram as well. I think I said that earlier in the episode, but I'll mention it again. So anyway, hope this was helpful. Bye, you guys.
Hey, thank you for listening to the podcast all the way to the end. I appreciate you being here. And if you enjoyed this episode, then I want to invite you to check out my website template shop too. Over on ElizabethMcCravey.com, you'll find Showit website templates that are easy to use, strategically designed, and created to help you make more money from your website. Maybe your current website is really boring, maybe it's a challenge to update, and maybe it's even the thing you feel like is holding your business back. Your website needs to be strategically and intentionally designed in order for it to convert your viewers into raving customers, and that's exactly what my templates do. These templates are designed to be SEO friendly on the back end, not just pretty, and also strategic with all the strategies I teach on this show, and they are easy for you to set up all by yourself. So shop them at ElizabethMcCravey.com/shop and come join thousands of happy customers using these templates. And as an added perk, you can use the code BBPodcast at checkout to get 10% off your template as a thank you for being part of the podcast fam. Again, that's BB Podcast for 10% off any template over on ElizabethMcCravey.com. Also, if you loved this episode, leaving a rating and review for the show on wherever you're listening or sharing it with a friend is a great way to support this podcast. Thank you again for listening, and I'll be back next week with a new episode. If managing your business's finances feels daunting and you typically come to the end of the month not sure how to pay yourself, or if you're doing the business savings thing, quote unquote, right, then I have a free guide for you. Over my 9 years of business, I've learned some financial skills the hard way, and a few years ago, I developed an 8-step process I go through at the end of each month. This process helps me know how my business is doing financially, pay myself well, and allocate money for things like taxes and expenses, and also document notes about the month that'll help me make financial decisions in the future. Again, I've been doing this process since early 2023, and it truly has changed the way I do my business for the better and has helped me ultimately make more money. And I want to help you do the same. So you can grab this 8-step process literally for free at ElizabethMcCravey.com/profit. There's a whole PDF guide for you there that you can download and go through for free. That's ElizabethMcCravey.com/profit.